Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the vocal mixing class. Okay, this is a fun one. This is a song by one of my local artists. Her name is Evelyn Detsani. I'm actually not quite sure how to pronounce it. She's really cool. She does pop music, R&B kind of pop music. Really awesome female vocalist. Awesome person. Evelyn, shout out to you. Um, I think you're going to enjoy this song. There's actually two vocalists in this song. One is a female singer, R&B pop style, and another is a female rapper. Her name is Courtney Kelly. She's, I think, from Atlanta, but is currently in Utah for work. She is amazing. She has the bridge part, and I love how the effects kind of worked out. I'll talk about this later, but one thing that I like to do with my effects, and you can use this as a tip for your mixes, is I like to use dry as an effect. Now, let me explain that. A lot of people want wetter, more wet and wet vocals, more reverb to kind of enhance the chorus, whatever. I oftentimes like to cut all of it out to make a different kind of impact. So on this song, she's the type of girl where she tells me every single time I mix a song first, she says more reverb. So I know that her taste, which is important, her taste is right because she's the artist, right? Now we say mixing, there's no such thing as a wrong mix, but if the artist doesn't like it, then it's wrong, right? Because it's for the artist. It's showing them their taste. It's enhancing their taste. But she wants more and more reverb. So I'm adding more and more reverb to the song. Now, the problem with reverb is that it can get a little bit muddy. It can get a little bit messy. It sounds good, especially with her voice because she's a vocalist, right? And it just cuts through, adds space. But I take all the reverb and delays off and make it totally dry when it comes down to Courtney's little bridge verse. It's cool. Let's listen to it right now. So I'm going to transition over to the screen. And again, this is another one of those sessions where you're seeing the original session. This is a big session. Not as big as the last one. It's 52 tracks total. But this, I'm just going to play her verse into Courtney's verse just to kind of show you how very flexible and how much it moves and how dynamic the song is.
It wasn't none till you said something, till you sat next to me, painted out for me, future you and me, your skin next to me, colors vividly. But see now the strokes were made by me, see now the game was played by me. Cause if you wanted would've stayed by me, honestly, I just assumed I want your type. Cause I seen you out late at night with the girls you like. And what, they don't look nothing like me. Saw you with an itty bitty yum yum, but you made my heart bitty bitty bum bum. So I thought I could really like be son, but you leave me on red while you double tap with your thumb thumb, you don't want none.
You've been messing with the wrong girl. You've been messing with my head, boy. Loving you is a crime. Can't let you in this time.
Okay, that's perfect. So a little sneak peek into our upcoming classes. We're going to be doing routing. We're going to be doing instrumentals, both acoustic and sample-based. But for right now, we're just going to focus on the vocals, right? So what did we do here? So first off, let's mute all the effects because we will get to those later. Okay? Let's listen to this verse. Let's mute the...
Tu prisa me divierte. Mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada, zoom zoom, yeah.
So this is a session where the producers sent me with some plugins, and it looks like the producer only used some stock plugins, so I have literally not touched these settings at all. I don't know why there's plus 8 dBs of gain here while there's like no gain reduction. Doesn't make sense. Whatever. Just in case, for the sake of them getting a vibe for it, like giving them the benefit of the doubt, I'm just not going to touch it, even if it looks wrong, because it doesn't sound wrong. It doesn't sound like there's some extra distortion happening but whatever, they put that there on purpose. It looks like it for no purpose to me, but I don't want to mess with that. So I'm just going to add on top of it. So I'm routing it out to this bus here. Let's see what it sounds like before and after with the entire thing, before we show you anything here. And this is a lot more of a recent mixing style.
Tu prisa me divierte.
This is dry.
Mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada, zoom zoom, yeah.
Wet.
Y yo me di cuenta, porque este amor no puedo durar, porque este amor no puedo
Off.
durar, no puedo durar, no.
Okay, big difference, right? Let's go in one at a time and just show you my process. Let me emphasize for the third time in a row, please don't copy me. Please don't copy me. One more time. Please don't copy me. You can do what I do for the sake of understanding why I do the things that I do, but I do not want you to think my word is law. I do not want you to think that, listen, just because you use the same tool and do the same exact stuff as me doesn't mean it's going to sound the same. Something's going to be off. Something's going to be different. What I want you to learn from this is what I'm hearing, okay? I've said this every single time in all 3 segments of this vocal lesson, and I want you to hear what I'm hearing. So listen for what I'm hearing for. So number 1, again, shout out to Antares, autotune, always, just a touch. I don't really use the humanize. In this case, it looks like I used 11. I don't know why. I don't really use it. I use a lot of the flex tune. I use a slow retune just because I want to stay normal.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada, zoom zoom, yeah. Y yo me di cuenta, porque este amor.
Autotune, the reason why I put autotune first is because autotune and other harmonizers, stuff like that, it actually does change the EQ spectrum of vocal just a tiny bit. So in this case, autotune typically makes the mid-range a little bit more bright and sharp, but to be honest, just putting autotune first is a habit. It's not necessarily the right answer. But for the sake of, if it's going to change the EQ, I wanted to do that before I start EQing stuff. So let's go into the next step. This is a Leslie move here. He used a de-esser. So this is a Leslie Brathwaite.
Tu prisa me divierte.
De-essing first.
Mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada, zoom zoom, yeah.
SSL channel
Y
strip.
yo me di cuenta.
This is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Look how much I'm cutting here. 8 dBs shelf from 130-ish. Looks like I'm doing -3 at 2.5, -2 at 3.5. Again, cutting out those mid-range frequencies that's usually more nasally. I'll boost those just to show you where it's at.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum.
I don't want it.
Estoy
Ooh, see here how much smoother it got when I cut it? Let me do it again.
Y yo me di cuenta, porque este amor no puedo durar, porque este amor no puedo.
Ooh, so nice. A little bit of high pass, a little bit of boosting. This is typical for my mixing style here.
Tu prisa me
Pro Q.
divierte,
This is to tame some
mi corazón
pokey
late
frequencies.
pum
Again,
pum,
dynamic.
yeah. Estoy enamorada, zoom zoom, yeah. Y yo me di cuenta, porque este amor no puede.
Whistling frequency, I guess, was bugging me.
puedo durar.
Cutting more about like that 4, and then I assume that's sibilance.
Mi corazón.
One of the most underrated vocal compressors here, the Arvox. It's so simple. It's kind of like the dummy, it's the stupid compressor, the do-it-all, one knob type thing. It's amazing.
Tu prisa me divierte.
Yeah,
Mi corazón
I'm making it
late
louder with
pum,
this one.
pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada.
Who cares?
Zoom, zoom, yeah.
This is just my
Y
mixing
yo me
style. I
di
change the volume as I'm adding plugins.
cuenta, porque este amor no puedo
Another
durar,
de-esser.
porque este amor no puedo
This is a Jason Joshua
durar.
trick. He uses 3 of these, but I'm using just 2.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum.
Looks like I'm cutting
yeah.
that out.
Estoy
Again, dynamic.
enamorada, zoom, zoom, yeah. Y yo me di cuenta.
Cutting that out. Again, dynamic.
Porque
It's only cutting it out. It's only cutting out when it needs to. Did you see how I wasn't cutting it out and now it is?
2
different frequencies.
Pum, pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada,
Mog. Ooh, love these guys. Love, 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 love these guys. This is the EQ4.
Tu prisa me divierte.
Cutting more low end out. Adding this 40 hertz. This sounds really nice on vocals.
Show
you.
Y yo me di cuenta porque este amor
Adding that body.
no puedo durar.
Airband, just a touch.
No puedo durar, no puedo durar, no puedo durar.
That's what's making it really bright.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum, yeah.
But DK, vocals and speakers and people can't even hear past 20K. Why are you using an airband? Well, STFU, because the reason why people use airbands a lot and the reason why they're so loved and dearly beheld by all pro mixing engineers is because it's not about boosting frequencies above 20K. It's about the fact that you're boosting from a slope above 20K. So that means if you're boosting 40K or even 20K, that means the slope starts at around 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, whatever it is. The slope starts earlier, so you can boost more and gradually bring it in. So that way, it's going to sound way smoother than boosting the same amount directly with a plus 2 dB boost at 10K versus plus whatever the equivalent of that is, 20K or 40K, right? It's going to be a lot smoother because you're bringing in that boost a lot more gently. This sounds amazing. Mog EQ sounds amazing for this, and I use this all the time. You can find this on UAD or Plugin Alliance. I use this on another track. I use the Magnum K a lot. It has the same airband, but it also has this comp thing. We'll talk about that later, but I'm adding a lot of the airband, the final sheen. One more time with this off and on.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada, yeah. Y yo me di cuenta.
Boom. Last thing. Compression.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum.
With my most recent mixing, I've been doing this fast 1176, maximum minus 3 dBs, and I'm using it just to push volume, to be honest. Like, I'm making it louder on purpose.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum.
When you're starting off, I don't recommend using plugins to make tracks louder because then you don't hear what plugins are doing. As part of my workflow now, I boost the volume slowly through different plugins to kind of get it to a level. Like, for example, the 1176, when I pull this up, the only thing I change is the release time, maybe the ratio, and the input. I don't touch the output because if by the time I'm hitting minus 3 dBs on the output, I've just used this plugin so many times, I know exactly what it sounds like. And I've mixed it so many times. By the time that I've gotten it where it's minus 3 dB gain reduction, I know it's going to fit perfectly to the beat that I've already mixed. Again, using plugins that I'm used to using, so I know what they sound like, and I just naturally get it to a specific level. Just because I've been doing this so long, naturally, things just happen to be at the same level every single time. Like, relatively speaking, I'm talking about like the beats track, which is like all of the instruments, versus my vocals. So in this case, this is just what I've been doing. A little bit of saturation. The 1176 makes it a little bit brighter with that FET saturation. Compressing it just that little bit more. And the last thing is raising that volume.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum, yeah.
Which in this case, it's not raising the volume that much. Let's listen to everything off and everything on.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada.
The volume actually hasn't changed that much if you look at the meter here.
Yo me di cuenta porque este amor no.
Way brighter now in context of the beat.
Tu prisa me divierte, mi corazón late pum pum, yeah. Estoy enamorada, yeah. Y yo me di cuenta.
you've been looking at the meters, it's actually not that much louder. It's a little bit louder, but not that much louder. Not as loud as you hear it. And that's because we're making the frequencies that cut through, we're making them shine. Low end carries a lot more power, and you'll see if I boost the low end 3 dBs, if I boost 60, like if I boost 100 hertz 3 dBs, it'll show up on the meters way more than if I boosted 10,000 hertz 3 dBs. That's because low frequencies carry a lot more energy than high frequencies. So in this case, I've made the vocals sound louder because humans will hear, you can look this up, the, what is it called? The Fletcher-Munson curves. Humans actually hear mid-range and up a lot better than low end. So if you want to hear all the frequencies flat, like for example, pink noise, white noise is all the frequencies equal, right? So it's that fuzzing, fizzing sound, but there's not a lot of bass to it because even though everything is metrically equal, our ears don't hear everything metrically equal. Pink noise is more flattened up and boosted the same energy for our hearing. So you'll hear a lot more low-end rumble, even though it's the same exact sound. So with this, idea is I'm using the Fletcher-Munson curve so you don't see a lot of the metric volume change, but you hear it a lot louder because I'm boosting frequencies that are a lot more heard by the human ear. That kind of got a little bit weird, but the point is cut the low end, boost the high end. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these other verses. Let's look at Courtney's verse real quick.
Until you sat next to me, painted out for me, future you and me, your skin next to me, colors vividly.
Similar.
Seen how the strokes were made by me, seen how the game was played
Similar.
by me. Cause if you wanted would have stayed by me, honestly, I just
A little bit different there. This frequency is different.
With the girls you like and what down little
Different compressor.
Saw you with a itty bitty
Frequencies.
but you made my heart bitty bitty bum bum.
Same idea. Cutting out. Ooh, this is different. I'm using the actual bands.
With your thumb thumb, you don't want none.
Ooh, I'm using a saturator.
Until you said something, until you sat next to me.
One thing that I really like to do is I like to EQ with saturation. We'll talk about that more as you go along the courses. But this little radiator is awesome. It brings out the low mids, 150 hertz, 100 to 200, 300 hertz, somewhere in the low mids, upper lows. It's just amazing. It's really nice. I like it.
It wasn't.
Also amazing on kick drums.
It wasn't none till you said something, till you sat next to me, painted out for me, future you.
This thing is basically a de-esser. It's basically a de-esser. It compresses everything from 2.5K and above. That's all it is. 25K airband.
It wasn't none till you said something, till you sat next to me, painted out for me, future you and me.
Yeah.
Next to me, colors vividly. Seen how the strokes were made by me, seen how the game was
Look at that,
played by
boosting
me.
the volume.
If you wanted would have stayed by me, honestly, I just assumed I want your type, cause I seen you out late at night with a.
Ooh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Listen to the mid-range. Listen to the mid-range.
Made by me, seen how the game was played by me. Cause if you wanted would have stayed by me, honestly, I just assumed I want your type, cause I seen you
Ooh.
out late at night.
Yeah,
Girls you like
that's nice. Ooh, shout out to Corey Anders. He showed this at the Waves booth at NAMM 2020. Yo, like this whole cutting out the mid-range thing sounds amazing. He mixed Usher's album, and I'm kind of stealing this from him, who he also was mentored by Leslie Brathwaite, much longer in Patchworks. But dude, oh my.
It out for me, future you and me, your skin next to me, colors vividly. Seen how the strokes were made by me, seen how the game was played by me.
Oh, so clear. I love that. So again, once with everything off.
It out for me, future you and me, your skin next to me, colors vividly. Seen how the strokes were made by me, seen how the game was played by me. Cause if you wanted would have stayed by me, honestly,
No
I
effects.
just assumed I want your
You
type.
see that? No effects. Dry.
You know, and none till you said something, till you sat next to me.
On the actual tracks, they added a compressor that's doing nothing. They had de-esser that's doing some stuff, I guess. Again, didn't touch it. I added a de-esser. I guarantee this is mine.
You know, it wasn't none.
Courtney, I've recorded Courtney a bunch of times, or I've mixed a lot of Courtney songs, and she has a specific frequency in her S's where they need to be cut a lot more than normal, so that's probably why I'm doing that. Ooh, I'm adding, it looks like, an imager. Imagers, we'll talk more about them throughout the course, but imagers, there's multiple different styles. There's phase shifting styles, kind of like this one. And then there's like modulation styles, which is more like the Microshift by Sound Toys, or the Chorus Studio D by UAD. There's different types, and then there's doubling types, like the it was free for a while, but the vocal doubler by Isotope, as well as the Waves. What is it called? Ooh, the Waves Real ADD2 whatever, where it splits up the vocal and it gives it a left and right and varying the timing and the free whatever, right? Anyway, that's kind of it for this track. You'll have the final bounce, you'll have the different sessions, you'll have the beat as a single track. Enjoy, have fun, experiment, learn, send it to me. There's no wrong answers. Don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Please, if you do exactly what I did, I will be sad. And I will say that you have not learned anything. I will be very sad. Please think on your own. Do what you think needs to be done. And if it's totally different from mine, if you think it needs a lot more low end in the vocals than me, do it. Prove me wrong. I will be so happy. Anyway, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Keep practicing. Happy mixing. Stay saucy, my friends.